licenses, once issued, are permanent. There is no question of renewal. Thank you.
Bill, first reading. Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2016. Bill, second reading. Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury. President, I move the second reading of the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2016, the amendment ordinance, in order to amend the Inland Revenue Ordinance to provide a legislative framework for the implementation of automatic exchange of financial account information in tax matters, AEOI, in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a international financial hub and also a responsible member of the international community. We have always done our best to enhance the transparency of our tax system and also to avoid tax evasion. In September 2014, Hong Kong indicated that it would support the new international standards with regard to AEOI announced by the OECD. Hong Kong promised that when local laws are implemented, we would implement the new standards together with appropriate partners on a reciprocal basis so that there could be the first information exchanges by the end of 2018. The appropriate partners must protect privacy, ensure proper use of data exchanged, and also keep confidentiality of information exchanged. We will take a pragmatic approach to include the AEOI in local legislation so that it will be effectively implemented, but at the same time there will not be disproportionate compliance burden placed on financial institutions. When making the relevant legislative proposals, we gave consideration to responses and views collected during the consultation period in April to June 2015. In simple terms, according to the AEOI standards, financial institutions, meaning custodial institutions, depository institutions, specified insurance companies, and investment entities, must conduct due diligence procedures so as to identify reportable accounts held by tax residents of reportable jurisdictions, that is, non-Hong Kong tax residents who are liable to tax by reason of residence in the AEOI partner jurisdiction, when such jurisdictions have signed AEOI agreements with Hong Kong. Financial institutions should collect personal and financial information of the account holders of these accounts and provide such information to the IRD annually. After receiving the information, it will exchange the relevant information with the AEOI partner. I must emphasize that to the general public, if they are not a tax resident in any jurisdiction outside Hong Kong, Hong Kong FIs will not and should not declare the information of that person to the IRD. Therefore, the relevant information will not be sent to a tax organization outside Hong Kong. And also, we would only have bilateral AEOI arrangement together with tax jurisdictions which have signed comprehensive avoidance of double taxation agreements or CDTA and tax information exchange agreements or TIEA with Hong Kong. Apart from the protective measures under AEOI, the protective measures under CDTA and TIEA will also apply to the information exchanged under AEOI. There are four main areas in the bill. First, to stipulate the scope of reporting FI and reportable account. The bill adopts the relevant definitions with regard to the AEOI standards, and where necessary, local laws will be mentioned and also amended appropriately. The bill also stipulates non-reporting FIs and excluded accounts. Since these FIs and accounts present a low risk of being used for tax evasion, according to the standards and criteria of AEOI, these are exempted from reporting. Number two, to stipulate that FIs should identify reportable account, and also there is a responsibility to collect information from the account holders. In order to comply with the requirements of the AEOI, the bill stipulates that FIs must set up procedures to identify whether the accounts are reportable accounts, and also must maintain and apply such procedures in order to identify and collect the information of account holders of tax residents in the reportable jurisdictions. We call this the targeted approach. In order to provide flexibility to FIs in the conduct of due diligence procedures, the bill also stipulates that FIs can make use of the same procedures to identify the information to be collected with regard to accounts of tax residents in any tax jurisdictions outside Hong Kong. We call this the wider approach. Number 3, to stipulate that FIs should provide information and the scope for doing so. With regard to personal information, information to be exchanged includes name, address, jurisdictions of residence, taxpayer identification numbers, and then date and place of birth. With regard to the account, it would include the account number, the account balance or value as at the end of the relevant calendar year, and as to the different types of accounts, the total gross amount of interest, the total gross amount of dividends, and the total gross amount of other income generated with respect to the assets held in the account. Number 4, to stipulate the powers and sanctions of the IRD to make sure that Hong Kong can implement AEOI in an effective way. The bill empowers the IRD with enforcement powers, including requiring FIs to furnish information about reportable accounts in the specified format, to have access to the business premises of FIs and inspect its compliance system and process, and if any non-compliance is found during such inspection, require the FI to rectify the system or process. Moreover, the bill also stipulates penalties for FIs, service providers, and account holders. We have made reference to the relevant penalties in the existing IRO to ensure that the proposed penalties are proportionate and can be an effective deterrent. The AEOI should be started by the end of 2018. This is the latest timetable permissible by the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes. Therefore, to deliver our promise, we must exchange information before the deadline, and time is very tight, and we have to do the following 4 things. Number 1, we have to ensure that the bill can be passed by July 2016, that is before the end of this legislative term. Secondly, we must identify at least one appropriate partner so that we can complete our negotiation with it by the end of 2016. And the appropriate partner should be included in the list of reportable tax jurisdictions, and this will be subject to the negative vetting of the Legislative Council. Number 3, when AEOI agreements are signed, the FIs must conduct due diligence procedures in 2017 in order to identify and collect information about reportable accounts. Number 4, FIs must provide the information to IRD in 2018 so that it can be sent to the partner for AEOI. The Global Forum has set up a mechanism for mutual assessment by members under AEOI in order to monitor progress. Mr. President, in order to consolidate Hong Kong's status as an international financial center and also to discharge our international obligations, Hong Kong must implement the AEOI arrangement according to the deadline. I hope members will support and pass the bill ASAP, and we will work together with members in this scrutiny work. Thank you very much. I now propose the question to you, and that is that the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill 2016 be read the second time. In accordance with the rules of procedure, the debate is now adjourned and the bill is referred to the House Committee.
The Council will now continue the second reading debate on the Copyright Amendment Bill 2014. Does any